Okay, and the way we do that is by way of data model, right? The data model is the core of everything about this tool. So I know that there's tons of data modeling tools out there. What makes ours so special?
So the data modeling tools that are out there are data modeling tools. Their sole focus is to enable you to create uh, data models and use that data model to generate physical schema. Most of their functionality ends at that point. You're not the data model meaning tool that we have is provides similar functionality, but in our case, the data modeling is just a start or part of your solution building. The entire um, product revolves around data model in that sense that our data models are much richer than the traditional entity relationship models. B, lots of other components in the product are driven by the data model. For instance, if you create a data model, an OLTP data model, we give you the functionality to convert automatically with some manual intervention into a dimensional model. Once the dimensional model is created, you can update it, you can modify it and refine it and perfect it. Once it is refined, you can forward engineer that into a physical database. And that forward engineer component can be used for a number of databases in the market, number of top databases such as Oracle, SQL Server, Redshift, Snowflake, Vertica, and so on.
Right. So I could start with my transactional database, bring in a Teradata Warehouse Builder, use that data model of my transactional database to then build not only my dimensional model, but then push a button and have it actually create my physical database.
Correct.
Just like that.
So, but that's just still part of the solution. We see, as we discussed early on, that when we looked at customers' data flows, they all look the same. They're fairly complex data flows that load dimensions or facts. They're fairly complex, but they all look the same. They're very similar.
Have lookups, looking up a dimensional table to get that key.
Or updating different kinds of dimensions.
Right.
Have
to take care of the early arriving fact.
Exactly. And so all of these add complexities to, or at least not a lot of work to what the customer is doing. So once the dimensional data model is complete, for many of the projects, that's when the real work starts. And not only that's the start of the real work, but that work is then shifted to a different team altogether with different tool set and different expertise. And there is a lot of communication happens. And as we know that the more communication points there are, the more chances for miscommunication there are.
And this handoff you're talking about, that's the whole ETL process, right?
Right. Handoffs are where there is a lot of cost, because there's a cost of the handoff. There is the loss in translation part of it. And now another team is implementing the thought process of the team before it. So a lot of the thought process doesn't get handed off, doesn't translate well. And so there is a lot of back and forth and evolution of it. But when you stay in the same tool, then now your dimensional model is what is used for ETL load. And all the constraints and all the metadata that you have defined in your dimensional model is available and is used by this automated load process to load dimensions, to maintain the all kinds of slowly changing dimensions, components, and to correctly load all the facts.
And you mentioned correct. So part of this is also making sure that after the fact the data is correct, right? Because you have the model.
Correct. So once you have the model, there are tools and features in the product to verify the model, to make sure that the model itself is correct. And then once you deploy that model, you can verify the underlying database to make sure that the database conforms to the model. Even more, then you can verify the data in the database to make sure that the data is correct. So these 3 levels of integrity checks make sure that your data is always correct. And during the load process, we make sure that we do so many verifications to make sure that the data is always loaded in a correct fashion, and even afterwards, you can run the integrity checks at various points.
Very cool. But what if I've already done my model in some other tool? Like Irwin's a very popular tool for creating data models. Right? Do I have to redo the model in Centerprise or in
No,
Teradata
you can
Warehouse Builder?
import that model in Centerprise in a few minutes, and then add some more metadata sometimes to get it going.
So I can leverage my existing work already. Very cool.